Wendy Williams thought her manager, Selby, was putting her in peril, and her best friend said she sounded worried in their final phone call. Wendy's closest friend of over 4 decades exclusively revealed to the U.S. Sun that the star no longer felt safe in New York and specifically took issue with her manager leading up to her disappearance from the public eye in May 2023. Wendy's pal, Regina Schell, said Wendy told me she didn't feel safe in New York anymore, and that was why she had started looking for a place out in La. She told me she felt her manager was not protecting her and she felt she was in peril, the friend explained. Wendy ended up in Los Angeles after calling her publicist Sean and I, in what would later play out on Lifetime's Where is Wendy Williams documentary. She called Sean and Sean flew out to New York and got Wendy and flew with her back to La in 24 hours because she believed Wendy was fearing for her life in New York, Regina explained. Regina, who lived with Wendy for the majority of 2022 and spoke to the star several times a day regularly, said that among Wendy's concerns at her home in New York was not having access to food or any support network. She didn't have any food and she'd ask her guardian to send her breakfast, since she didn't have access to her own money, and the food wouldn't show until hours later. Regina said another unsettling issue was that whenever she had to head back to her home in Los Angeles, Wendy would find herself completely alone in New York. When I would leave, she'd be sitting in her apartment by herself. On May 1, 2023, Regina would unknowingly have what would be her last conversation with her friend, and that brief chat still haunts her. She told me she was going to lunch with her manager and that she would call me when she got home. But she never got home, and she hasn't called me since. The star's childhood friend said Wendy seemed worried. She sounded concerned in that last phone call. I could feel the vibe and it was something dark. The former daytime TV host's pained friend then added, I haven't spoken to my friend, who I spoke to 5 times a day, in over a year now. The U.S. Sun reached out to Wendy's former manager for comment. Wendy was placed in a guardianship in early 2022 while battling myriad health issues and as she remained absent from the Wendy Williams show. After she lost the show due to being absent for the entirety of what would be her final season, Wendy filmed a documentary with Lifetime. In late February, Lifetime aired a documentary on the ailing host's life in recent years with the 4-part series exploring her battle with alcohol, her health and cognitive decline, and the guardianship she has been under since early 2022. Where is Wendy? Wendy was placed in a rehab facility in May 2023 and has not been seen publicly since. In the documentary and subsequent interviews about the star, Wendy's family said they couldn't reach her and that they didn't know where she was. The people who love her cannot see her, Wanda Finney, Wendy's older sister, told People at the time. The former TV host's best friend also questioned how Wendy, who she spoke to numerous times a day, hasn't called her in over a year since vanishing from the public eye. She's somewhere that she can't reach her phone because Wendy can always get to a phone. Because if she could get to a phone, she'd be calling me. In interviews and during the Lifetime docuseries, Wanda said the star would occasionally call her, but she wasn't able to call Wendy herself as she didn't have a number for her. Regina questions, what is the end game? How does this end when her money is gone? Where is she?